Today's topic, ask me questions because it's a live Q&A and I need your questions. Let's get to them. Welcome to Table Scraps, short discussions about board, card, and tabletop gaming submitted by the viewing audience and discussed with the viewing audience. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Table Scraps, the show made possible by the live streaming chat window on YouTube and the conversations that I have along with it. Today is the 50th episode of Table Scraps, so I wanted to do something a little bit special. So today we're doing an extra large episode of Table Scraps in which I am going to be taking the viewer questions here in the live streaming chat, and we're going to just see where the conversation goes from there. Let me, before I get to your question and the next questions, let me actually do the announcements that I actually wrote down on a text file right here in caps. Don't forget to do your announcements. So the first announcement, I'm going to be printing up some nice neoprene playmats through inkedplaymats.com that are going to be compatible with Vegas Showdown to actually have a nice non-flimsy, non-paper thin mat to build your hotel and casino on. If you are interested in one of these playmats, there's still time to purchase one or a whole set of them. Like I said, I'll add a link in the description of this video below. I'm like 5 orders away from being able to get the nice bulk print discount through the website. So if we can get 5 more orders for these playmats this week, it will actually make the mats a lot more affordable to print up. So if you would like to replace the paper thin playmats in Vegas Showdown with some nice neoprene ones, let me know. I'll follow the link in the description below, and you can hopefully be able to snag some playmats that will be compatible with Vegas Showdown to replace the paper thin ones. The second announcement actually addresses Kay Sweeney's question of, are you coming to the UK Games Expo? So we got kind of an announcement and a question answer all in one here. The answer is no, I'm not on the schedule to attend the UK Games Expo this year. Here's the list of where I will and will not be potentially in the year to come. The first thing is that BGG Spring takes place just in a couple of weeks at the end of May. And I have actually gotten the opportunity to attend it. So I am planning to be at BGG Spring in Texas, May 25th through 27th, something like that. So yeah, end of May, I'll be at BGG Spring. I'm going to be working with the Dice Tower crew at Origins. So I'll be in the booth, kind of acting as the floor manager director with the clipboard, making sure all the interviews are happening and stuff like that at Origins. So you are more than welcome to come by the booth at Origins, the Dice Tower booth at Origins. I may be running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but I will be there. I would love to say hi and do some stuff. I'll also, around the 4th of July, will be at Dice Tower Con. And this is kind of cool because they've asked Marty Cannell from Rolling Dice and Taking Names and I to actually come to Dice Tower Con to work. Which is a lot more exciting than it sounds. Marty and I are going to be hosting a daily live stream, basically all day, each day, through when it launches through Saturday. They are going to be doing live streaming, and Marty and I are going to be the hosts of it. We're going to be doing interviews. Marty and I have some games and stuff that we have in mind that we've been working on to do. So we're trying to come up with some fun stuff to do for the live stream. I'm also planning on being at Gen Con at this moment in time. The plan is that I'm going to be, of course, working with the Passport Game Studios booth at Gen Con. So if you're going to be at Gen Con, that's where you can find me there and come say hi. I don't know at this point whether or not I will be at PAX Unplugged or BGG Con in November. And of course, Essen, which takes a lot more planning than I've had time to do. I'm not planning on being at Essen either. But there is kind of your overall list of my convention schedule for the rest of the year. As far as I know at this moment in time, things are subject to change, void where prohibited. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into your questions here. Meeple Critic starts us off by asking, do you have any games that you will absolutely never get rid of? Oh boy, Meeple Critic, yeah. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I don't know if it's just my genetics or the attachments I make to some of these games and the emotional stories and stuff behind some of them, but I have a harder time making my list of games I am going to get rid of rather than games that I'm not going to get rid of. In fact, last Sunday, was the first time since I got back into board gaming proper in 2012, was the first time I officially culled my collection. I must have got rid of at least 20 to 40 games out of the collection, and it was the very first time I was able to let go of games at that level. But actually, to answer your question, are there any games that I will absolutely never get rid of? Oh yeah, I know for a fact that there are a few, mostly for sentimental values and other things. HeroScape, I will never get rid of HeroScape. I actually have a hard time even getting rid of Risk, because that's what I grew up on. Battleship Galaxies probably will never leave my collection, just because that's like the game that really opened the floodgates for me, and I have a really soft spot in my heart for that one. And stuff like that, you know, mostly games that have some sort of fundamental reason for being, or some fundamental achievement they unlocked for me in board gaming. Most of those will stick around. Of course, I want to know in the comments below, what's at least one game in your collection that you will never get rid of, and what's the story behind it? That, you know what? That will make an entire TABLEscraps episode in and of itself too. So we'll revisit that one. That will be a really good topic for an episode coming up. Let's continue on to the next question, which is again by Meeple Critic. When considering a new board game purchase, what are your main criteria that you look for? Okay. So I've made a video about this before, and I think actually not even mechanisms, not theme, not even price. I think the thing that is the primary deciding factor on whether or not I purchase a board game is whether or not, when I'm looking at the box and thinking about it, if I imagine a certain person that I would enjoy playing this game with. That's the thing that will sucker me into buying a game more than anything. Case in point would be Downforce. I had no interest at all in Downforce at all. I thought it was a cool game, nicely made. Restoration Games does great work, but I had no interest at all in Downforce. Then I was at a game get-together with some friends a couple weeks ago, and Downforce at the table. And I played it, and while I'm playing it, I just realized, this would be a great game to play with my wife and daughter. This would be just a fun, kind of easy, neat, competitive, but still light little family racing game. And I don't have any other racing games that are similar to it on the shelf. And just boom, right there, you know, by that evening, I had made a purchase of it and it'll be arriving soon. That's actually the main determining factor, I think, when I goes into the purchase of that goes into the decision of whether or not to purchase a board game. I'm wondering if that's typical or if that's not the norm. Let me know what goes into your purchase decisions, because that would be something really interesting to explore as well, I think, to see if everyone's the same or if it's different for everybody. Empires of the Void 2 or Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea? Well, that's a difficult question, and one that I don't feel I'm completely capable of answering yet. Because first of all, I have been waiting for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea for a long time. And Empires of the Void 2, I've heard mixed results on. I've heard it's good, but, you know, good and okay. I've heard Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea was good, but a little bit clunky in parts. And of course, all of this is not my opinion. This is what I've heard secondhand so far. So I've heard that they both have their own pros and cons. I think both of them, try playing them both if you can and see which one's going to be the better fit for you. Me personally, I'm still leaning towards Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, because if that one can do what I hope it can do, that's the one that I'm more excited to play that set of mechanisms in that rule set. Axon Troll asks, what is your wife's favorite game? My wife, I think her favorites are still Seasons. She really enjoys Seasons. And she really likes engine building games where she can draft the cards, pick the cards, and actually make a bunch of combos. That's what she really, really enjoys. And also, she actually really still enjoys Marvel Legendary too. Really, any game in which she can create a strategy to develop an engine, a set of combos, and put that into place, she's all about those games. And she mops the floor with me at them too, because I get distracted. I'm like, oh, I'm going to build this. Oh, no, I'll build that. Oh, no, I didn't know this card existed. I'll build that instead. And I do as well as, you know, a frightened bunny playing the game. But anyway, that's her favorite games. Kabuki Kid asks, Chaz, have you played TI4 yet? Opinions on the changes. Hi. Hi. Yeah. No, I haven't played TI4 yet. However, I'm really excited. One of the reasons I'm really excited about setting up this new studio and taking over this room upstairs is I actually have my table topper from that Berkey designed. I have my table topper set up permanently now on a table up here, and I have enough room to have a dedicated game room along with my studio. So one of the things I've done is there's a local group of friends from a local game group that I've gotten to know over the last couple of years that I've actually said, you know what, like let's pick a dedicated one day a month at least, and let's get together for a dedicated game day. And, you know, we'll play. And we played Rising Sun on our first one, and Rising Sun was fantastic. And we're going to play Android later this month. Not Android Netrunner, but the actual Android game, which I'll talk about more after we play it. And then I think the next one after that may be TI4. We kind of made our list. We kind of went around and let people kind of do their wish list of big games that they wanted to play that they never get to. So I know TI4 is on this short list, but we know we need to dedicate an entire day planned in advance for it. So it's coming, and I'm looking forward to how they've streamlined some things, especially the political system, but I'm looking forward to digging into that. And that's my plan for that, so I can comment on it intelligently. Trevin asks, sausage? Given the choice between sausage and bacon, I got to admit, I'm actually a 50-50 guy. If someone says, would you like 2 pieces of sausage or 2 pieces of bacon? I usually go for one of each. So now you know. Peter asks, so how do you keep escaping from all these basements that you keep getting locked in when you appear on other podcasts? For example, Flip the Table Towers and Rolling Dice and Taking Names. Fun fact that I only discovered recently is that all of the basements of our podcasters are all connected. There's this incredible network of basement tunnels, entire tunnel system. And by utilizing the tunnel system, I was able to eventually make my way to the sub-basement of the Dice Tower and work my way back home from there. And the best part is that those tunnels are catered too. So I didn't have to like make my own sandwich or anything. It was great. Ryan asks, have you played Rajas of the Ganges anymore? I think you will enjoy it a lot. No, I haven't. In fact, I think I mentioned to someone in a video comment just yesterday, Rajas of the Ganges was featured in yesterday's top 10 hotness games of May. And before I made the video, before I started doing the research into the BGG hotness list for last month, I hadn't even heard of Rajas of the Ganges. So I discovered it while making that video. And the more I researched it and the more pictures of it and stuff I looked through, the more I got actually really interested in it. So yeah, Rajas of the Ganges, I want to track down a copy of that game and give it a try because it looks really interesting and fun. So yeah, and it's neat. A lot of times I'll say that I hope that the top 10 list videos help people find new games that they wouldn't otherwise have known about. And this time was funny because I discovered a game that I didn't know about. So the door swings both ways, apparently. Kabuki Kid asks, how is the microwave working out? Have you microwaved a potato in it yet? In case you guys were wondering, apparently, about my microwave-ness still, I am still kind of not satisfied with my replacement microwave. But yeah, I've decided, I think at this point, to put up with it, unless I come across one that is exact perfect dimensions. So, okay, I'm not counting it out. Not counting it out completely. If I can find it, I will do it. But I'm not going out of my way anymore to find the perfect microwave. I'm letting that dream go. What is your name? What is your quest? What is the airspeed velocity V? My name is Chaz Marlar. My quest is to read this question correctly. And I can't answer the third question, though, because I didn't succeed in my second quest. Oh, and that question was by Joshua W., by the way, in case I forgot to mention his name. Kay Sweeney asks, what did you think of This Game is Broken? Is it your type of humor? Okay, yeah. This Game is Broken is a podcast. I think they're in their mid-20s by a bunch of people that kind of had segments and still do have segments on Board Game Breakfast. There is the Brothers Murph, there's Dan Hughes, there is Matthew Jude, there is Dave Luza. I think they're doing something unique and different. I'm a little bit jealous because some of the ideas they come up with are things I wish I had come up with. And if you ever listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR news quiz, it reminds me a lot of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, where they just kind of riff on news and things that come up, but they riff on games and come up with neat little fun games that don't mean anything. They can be, at times, a bit more crass than I was expecting at first, but they have a lot of fun with it and a lot of fun with each other. Trevin asks, how often do you thrift and have thrifting tips? Okay, so thrifting. First of all, here's my thrifting tip. If you want to try and track down a good game by thrifting, tip number one is to go often, as frequently as you can. A person who's really good at this is Flip Flory. I believe he has like a Goodwill like next door to where he works, or at least used to work or something. He used to go thrifting, I believe, like several times a week. And he'd pick up some really cool stuff. Some of it they used on Flip the Table. I would like to go at least like a couple times a month. Because there's a lot of stuff related to it that I enjoy doing and talking about and producing content about. But talking about it doesn't make it happen. The only thing that makes it happen is to actually find the time to do it. So that's what I'm working on right now. Joshua W. asks, what's your favorite digital game on your phone right now? Oh, boy. Okay, there's two that when I find out I have a few spare minutes that I find myself playing. One is I'm still playing Dead Man's Draw on the phone and iPad. And I'm seeing how far I can get without using any special abilities whatsoever. And the other one is I actually play a game called Triple Town a lot, where you basically have a map and you put bushes and trees and houses and things on this map. And if you get three together, they kind of morph into the next level up higher object, and then you try and make sets to keep the map as clear as possible, as long as possible, and when the map fills up, then you lose. So I've been playing Triple Town a lot. So there is the list of what I have been playing digital-wise. The ones and zeros have been crossing my screen. Marko asks, what do you think about the new Batman game that was recently founded in its Kickstarter? In general, do you think a one versus many game are good for casual play? I think the Batman game looks really interesting. Some of the sculpts that they did are strange looking. They don't really look really cool and super heroic. They look more like pinup art come to life in miniature form, which is like, give me something that looks more like playing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I have high hopes for it, but we'll see. One versus many games seem to be hit and miss as often as they hit. And a one versus many game, I don't really know how well they work for casual play. One versus many, it seems you need a little more of a dedicated team and you need more of a dedicated time to really pull it off. So if the Batman game is trying to be real casual, being one versus many, I could see that kind of being a hindrance a little bit. But I am holding out hope for it because it looks pretty good and massive and it has potential. Axon Troll asks, what is V-Bug's favorite game? My daughter's favorite game probably is still Evolution. She loves Evolution because she loves being a carnivore and eating my critters. And also, oddly enough, her and I have been playing a lot of Uno in the evenings. The thing that's made her want to play it recently is since we're playing two players, the reverses typically would have no effect because you're playing two players, the reverse just bounces back to you. So what we've been doing is every game that we play before we start, we come up with a weird rule for what the reverses do. And whether it's a wild or you draw a random number of cards or it causes you to have to do something that affects the game. we've at this point we've had at least a few dozen different rules that we've had, but it's kept it fresher and interesting, and it's fast. And so of all the things right now, I'd say Evolution and Uno, and also we played Acquire, and she has beaten us at that once, and she came in second the next time that we played it. But so apparently she's all about big business. And playing by her own rules and devouring the competition. So that's luck. Good luck with that. Take Your Chits. Hello. Take Your Chits joins us in the chatteroonie to ask, how often do you play board games, Chaz? I find it's hard to find time with full-time work and content creation. Oh, yeah. So I haven't done it for about a year, and I need to get back into doing it. But I did religiously track my board game plays on Board Game Geek. And doing it, I found that I played between 30 to 40 games on average per month. So an average of maybe, okay, let's just round that down. Let's be casual. Let's say maybe one a day, one every other day, maybe even one every 3 days. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is that I agree, it is really difficult to find the time to do that. Recently, my game playing for the first quarter of this year has dwindled to maybe 3 games a month. And it's been really challenging, which is one of the reasons why I instituted the game day with my local friends that I was talking about, where we've played Rising Sun and we're going to be playing TI4 soon, is to try and get back in that habit, because it's not atypical. It's something that as gamers, you have to prioritize, but also keep correctly prioritized. Finding the time and making the time can lead to new opportunities sometimes. Like getting together with my friends like I am. I know some people take games with them to lunch at work, and they play them during their lunch breaks at work. So finding opportunities and making opportunities is the main thing that I have started working on after I saw my game playing just went way down this first quarter of this year. So finding out opportunities and making opportunities. But if you still play only one game a month or one game a quarter, doesn't matter. Doesn't make you any less of a gamer. It just means that that's the time that you've had, and that's the games you've been able to play, and it doesn't make you any less of a legitimate person who enjoys games. Meeple Critic asks, other than digital ports of board games, do you play any video games that give you the feel of some of your favorite board games? Admitting that I don't play as many video games as I used to kind of makes me sad and kind of makes me feel like, oh, you're not legit. You need to be the opposite of what I just told Take Your Chits. I suffer from as well as video games. You're not a legit gamer if you don't play video games all the time. I will say though, the Civ series is one that I really enjoy. That gives me a board game feel. Because like I said, like I've mentioned lots of times before, my dream board game is one where you develop and manage this whole culture down to the traffic, like a Sim City type of thing, down to the traffic infrastructure and the electrical grid and everything like that. And then you take that city and you raise an army, and then you take that and you go attack other people's cities that they've been building. Kind of a combination of Sim City, Risk, and Civ all together in a grotesque, awesome little package. That's kind of my dream game there. So Civ is the video game I play most often that gives me that board game feel. Trevin asks, you didn't get some interest in Downforce when you heard Rob Davio made it? He's your gamer crush. Hey, even with gamer crushes, man, you got to establish boundaries. And hey, people respect you for that. So that when you walk up to a convention and ask them to autograph your arm again for a 3rd time in a row, they'll take out the Sharpie instead of asking you to politely respect the restraining order. Kabuki Kid also asks, when will you do a complete game collection bookshelf tour? Ooh, is that something people would be interested in? If that is something that people would be interested in, let me know. And I will find out about doing it. I haven't really thought about it because I thought other people have done it better. So let me know. Trevin asks, did you try the Magic board game that's the spiritual successor to HeroScape? A little bit, dabbled in it. When it first came out, my daughter was a little bit young to play it, so I've held on to it. And now she's old enough that we've played HeroScape and stuff. And to be honest, it's similar enough to HeroScape that it's like, well, why don't we just play that instead? But I still have it. It was not one of the things that was culled. I'm planning within the next year and a half or so, I'm planning to actually introduce my daughter to Magic the Gathering, the card game proper, and get out my big box of old cards. I figured when she was 13 would be a good time that she can really appreciate it. So when she hits 13, I'm planning on introducing her to Magic. And at that point, perhaps the Magic the Gathering HeroScape hybrid game will come out of the closet, and we'll go get it out too. Axentroll asks, any chance of you doing live playthroughs, such as Tenzi? Well, anything's possible. You know, the main reason why I don't do live playthroughs is because the quality of my upload speed. The good news is that my local ISP has told me that sometime this year, they are planning on doubling my internet speed. If my upload speed can get doubled, then it will make the viability of doing live playthroughs a lot more realistic. Trevin asks, if you're leaving the table topper up all the time, why didn't you just get a dedicated table? The topper is for people who can't always leave stuff up. That's a good question, Trevin. The nice thing about the topper too is that since it is portable, its weight is a determining factor. At first, that was one of my big concerns about getting it. It's like, well, I want to get a dedicated game table. I don't want just a topper. But then I realized, man, game tables are really heavy. I realized this might actually fit my lifestyle better than a dedicated gaming table anyway. Now, if the opportunity came along to get a Geek and Son table that I've had on my wish list for years, if the opportunity came along to snag one of those somehow, I would jump at it in a minute still. But all things being equal, time, budget, portability, I think it still is the proper fit for where I'm at with my gaming lifestyle. Axentroll asks about evolution. Vanilla or expansions? Actually, we have been playing just vanilla evolution. I don't have the expansions for it or the new different version they did for it. So we've just been playing regular evolution. I know the flight one adds some neat things, but I just haven't had a chance to pick that one up yet. So vanilla evolution has still sparked my daughter's interest and creativity, which is really cool for the game that was able to do that. Okay, and Ryan P asks, we will end here with Ryan's question. Do you have any ideas for future series? More Sheepish Meeples. Oh, yeah. There's a couple of series I want to do. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail about the ideas because I want to just produce them instead of just talk about them. But over the last year, I've been doing some experiments. TABLEscraps started out as one of the experiments that I did. And I didn't know if I was going to do like more than 10 of them or whatever. But at convention after convention, people came up and they actually specifically mentioned the TABLEscraps episodes and how much they were enjoying them, which is like, wow, this is something that people are really responding to. So I've been looking for things that find that nice combination of stuff that people respond to and enjoy, and then I enjoy producing as well. So I'm going to try and find more of those capture lightning in a bottle more often with finding things that meet those two criteria. Stuff that people want to watch and that I want to produce. So like I said, there's a few series out there that kind of meet those criteria, but we'll see which ones rise to the top of the list first. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap up. And by wrapping up, this is where I mentioned Podpledge, because this is where I remind you that videos like this are made possible by viewers like you who have been supporting the Pair of Dice Paradise Podpledge fundraiser. Thank you so much for every shout out, every tweet, and every donation. Everything that you can do to help support the show is really helpful and greatly appreciated. So thank you very, very much. And until the next time that I get a chance to sit down with the live chat and catch up and talk and answer questions and discuss some topic about board games, I've been Chaz Marlar. Thanks for joining us, and take care. I forgot to do the announcements through the magic of editing. I'm going to do my announcements now and then add them in to the beginning of the show when I edit this, because editing is magic. Because that would be more informative than me going, okay, Salmon, or Saman, I apologize. RS, wow, that's not your initials even. SR So yes, a tour, a thing where I look at the studio and I tour it in video form.